All right, welcome everybody to the IU Hoops halftime report here, talking IU Michigan State as the Michigan State Spartans lead 32-24. Indiana did a really nice job of battling back after digging that early deficit, got it to 23-20, and then Michigan State ends the half on a 9-3 run. Where really you saw Indiana giving up some easy buckets there that they hadn't done. I mean, that was really the most impressive part of the defense there for about 18 minutes in the first half. Is there was just always an Indiana guy there. And Michigan State wasn't getting anything easy down low. They weren't getting any dunks, any real layups. And then there at the end, obviously Michigan State was able to do that. Look, obviously a disappointing first half in a lot of ways, most notably the score to be down by 8 and clearly to be shooting like Indiana is. I mean, Indiana's shooting 6 of 35 from the field. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. 6 of 35. And there's obviously many reasons for that. The most important reason is that Indiana's biggest strength as a team on offense, and this isn't a good offensive team, the one thing that we can hang our hat on is we're pretty good on twos. We're pretty good around the basket, getting the ball in a good position. And even when we do that, Michigan State is just so fast and so athletic. They're blocking a lot of shots, and even shots that they aren't blocking, they're in your head, so they kind of affect it in that way. But we're also just missing some good looks. I mean, Robert Johnson's 1 for 10. He's 1 of 5 from three-point range. I commend him because he came out with a really aggressive mindset, the complete opposite of what he had against Ohio State, and he's gotten some good looks. He just can't knock him down. And, the one that he made was the one that he was in rhythm. It didn't look rushed. He looked confident. And so many of the other ones, he's been leaning. The shot's been off. I mean, you've all been watching the season. You've seen it. So, I mean, I don't need to go into it. It's the same old stuff. But, man, like, I think there's actually a lot to be proud of and not necessarily excited about, but I mean, you look at what Archie talked about coming into this game, and Michigan State blew our doors off the first time up there. So, Archie talks to Fish before the game. What are the keys? Well, we've got to play well in transition. And I think for the most part, Indiana has done that. Robert Johnson lost track of Matt McQuaid a little bit, and he hit a couple of those early threes that were big-time daggers and kind of built that lead for Michigan State. So that wasn't great. But you haven't seen a whole lot of big run-out opportunities for Michigan State. Defending the paint, taking chances with guys making shots, obviously drawing the 2 fouls on Nick Ward early helped a ton because they really go down low to him. But for the most part, Indiana has done a pretty nice job of not just letting Michigan State park themselves in the paint. Now, obviously, he didn't do a good job of defending that oop to Jaren Jackson, but it's been much better than it was up there. And then from a rebounding perspective, I think this is where you have to be extremely happy as an Indiana fan. The Hoosiers have only given up 1 offensive rebound to Michigan State. 1. And this is one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Indiana, on the other hand, has 15 offensive rebounds. 5 for Freddie. Justin Smith has 3. Juwan Morgan has 3. And you got to take your hat off to Freddie McSwain, who gets the start. And the other thing that Archie Miller talked about before the game is we've got to play well early, establish that it's going to be a game. We've got to be tough around the basket. We've got to get off to a good start matching their physicality. And I'm sure that's why he started Freddie over Justin Smith, because Justin, for all of his skills and athleticism, is still learning how to play with the toughness needed at the college level. Freddie, not very polished, but the guy is tough. You're not going to really out-tough him. And he's doing that tonight, man. 4 points, 6 boards, 5 of them offensive. He's got a block. Obviously he's limited as a scorer, but he's made a couple of shots down there, and you can maybe say that he's forced a couple too, but he's really battled. And actually, Michigan State's run in the first half coincided when he left the court. And I thought Zach McRoberts had a nice first half, just hustling and getting deflections and getting 50-50 balls and, making the little deflection that then forces the turnover. Like, Indiana's in this game because I think early on they really followed the lead of Zach and Freddie, who really set the tone from a toughness perspective, from a hustle perspective. Credit to Juwan Morgan, who's really struggling offensively, only 2 for 8, but he's got 7 boards. I mean, he's playing hard. It's just a game of all the matchups in the country that is one of the worst ones for him because of the comfort level that he's found scoring down low, where his quickness can really be an advantage. Well, Michigan State's guys are pretty quick, and they're like 3 inches taller and more athletic than everybody. So those things that Juwan has been able to do this year, he just isn't really able to do. So you're seeing Indiana's limitations offensively, but I think within that first half, you saw some glimpses of why this program is heading in the right direction, because Indiana was able to keep it close despite a horrible offensive game because they defend, because they play tough, because they get on the glass. And it's not like they're not getting any open looks, they're just not making the ones that they get. And so at some point, you do have to make shots to win. It's a huge glaring problem right now for this team. And I'm not saying that you absolve the coaching staff for a team that shoots this poorly, especially with so many guys shooting below their career averages. I mean, there's got to be, it can't just all be, all these guys are just randomly shooting, worse. Maybe all the emphasis on defense has hurt them. Maybe the fact that it's a new offensive system and the type of looks that they're getting are different and there's not a comfort level. Maybe that's affecting it. Maybe they're not getting the same kind of practice time they got before. Like, I don't know. We're not that close to it. It's clearly got to get fixed. But, just a rough first half for Indiana shooting wise, but I was really, really impressed with some of the things that they did to make this a game, because it shouldn't be a game. Michigan State is just better than us, more athletic, bigger, all the things you guys already know. And so I think for Indiana to do what it did in the first half and keep this at a competitive spot where it's not double digits yet, you come out with a strong start in the second half, you get the crowd back into it. Maybe you can make this a game. But, I continue to look for what are the little seeds that are going to grow and help propel this program forward. I don't necessarily need to see this year's Indiana team beat Michigan State to be satisfied. I don't know that this team is built to do it. You could run this game 100 times. They might win once or twice. But what are the things that are going to carry forward in the future? And I think this defense, the toughness, the rebounding, the ability to come back from a team that whooped your butt the last time, and play really tough in the first half, those are some hallmarks of Archie's teams. And so I'm impressed with that. Hopefully we come out in the second half and make some shots. I mean, if we get a little, law of averages bounce back here, maybe we can make this a game, but we're going to have to make shots, and it's going to have to be Robert Johnson. Juwan Morgan is going to have to find some ways to score, not just inside, but on the perimeter, maybe, driving to the basket, obviously as a cutter, which is how he scored before. And I think Devontae Green is going to have to come in and make some shots, because he's a guy who can create offense. And when he gets hot, he can string together 3, 4, 5 shots in a row. And that's what Indiana needs. They need that second half that he had against Ohio State in this game. Now, he had some nice assists. He had 3 assists in the first half, didn't make any of his shots. That's what it's going to take. And if Indiana does it, man, we will come on the postgame show and be so excited, because that would be awesome. But there's a lot more, I think, to this next 20 minutes than just as Indiana makes some shots for 20 minutes and get back in this game. Because I think if we continue to see the defense and see the rebounding and see some of those things, that's the kind of stuff from a foundational level that Archie Miller is looking to build, to where this game can still be a building block moving forward, even if Indiana doesn't win it. So I know we don't want to be in the habit of, explaining away 8-point deficits and taking some solace and good performances when you're still getting your butt kicked. I get all that. That shouldn't be Indiana basketball, but I think it's the realistic viewpoint of where we are. And so I saw more to be happy about than upset about in the first half. And now if we just go out and make some shots, dadgummit, we can make this a game. Can we do that? The evidence is, doesn't suggest that it'll be possible, but I'm looking forward to watching. I mean, that was a fun first half to watch, because I love seeing us play that hard and play that gritty. So hopefully now we can go knock some shots, continue to maintain the effort on the defensive glass, and just find a way to grind it out and make this a game in the final 4 minutes. And then let's take our chances and see what happens. Thank you all for joining me here on the Halftime Report. We will be with you on the post-game show. It'll be Ryan Phillips, and then our man Zach McCright will be with us. Andy Bottoms has date night tonight, so he will not be joining us. But I do hope that you'll join us on the post-game show. We will go live as soon as this game ends, and hopefully we have a great comeback to talk about on the post-game show. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you all then.